Yes, so Hairless here. Today we have a song called Blow by Jackson Wang. Thank you to Dónde está, biblioteca for this request. Jackson Wang, I had not heard of him, I do not know any of his music. He's from Hong Kong and apparently he's a rapper, singer, songwriter, dancer and fashion designer. He's a member of the South Korean band called GOT7 or GOT7. I don't know them either. I've had a look at the lyrics and this appears to be a song coming from a place of hurt. It's about a toxic relationship which he compares to a cigarette addiction. It's quite good imagery, I think, a good comparison. He keeps coming back even though he doesn't want to. The last verse in particular caught my eye. Twinkle, twinkle, where's the star? Passed out in the back of my car. Blacked out from the night before. How'd we let it get this far? To me, that seems like a Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star reference or copy or inspiration. I'm intrigued what the music will be at that point. As we know, Twinkle Twinkle Little Star is a bedtime song for children, so that's an interesting kind of reference point for a song like this, at least based on the lyrics. And we know that melody has been used a number of times in history, the most famous example being Mozart's 12 Variations on a Theme. So subconsciously at this point I perhaps have classical music in my head. I'm confident this song will not be that. But in short, I have no idea what to expect. So let's just get straight into it. Ugh, that made my heart.
It tastes like cigarettes. I hit it every chance I get. Girl, you got me dripping sweat. You pull me back every time I quit. Yeah, it tastes like cigarettes. Your body feels like disrespect. You play me like an instrument, but I'm addicted to it. Yeah, I'm addicted to it. Yeah, yeah. I felt it coming and I couldn't escape. I'm in the belly of the beast again. My dirty secret that keeps me awake. Don't stop now, you got me ready to blow.
Well. I mean, first thing I should say is the video is obviously a massive part of this song. I feel anyway. It's very, very kind of artsy. Looks like some difficult choreography in there. Amazing set, costume design, all that kind of thing. And a lot of unexpectedness in there, which I typically do tend to like. But I'll come and go over some of those bits in a second. Very interesting and quite catchy. This does have 36 million views on YouTube, so it is a popular song. Alright, well, let's go over and analyse what we've heard so far. If you don't want to hear any analysis, go to the timestamp here. The opening, very, very eerie, and I like it because it's harmonically ambiguous, which contributes to this eerie feeling a lot. So it starts, I feel like we're in G minor. But then we hear in the bass line we hear this. and then the pattern continues, but it's rhythmically augmented, so the notes are now longer, which increases the trepidation we're feeling. And in the higher register we hear this, I don't know what instrument that is, it sounds kind of like an old string instrument, violin, viola, something like that. But it's this chromatic motif that we keep hearing on repeat, which consists of these notes. So first impressions from this weird introduction. Overall, it's harmonically ambiguous, which is unsettling, and it builds suspense. Alright, so is everyone asleep? Dead? They're all inhaling the smoke, whatever the smoke may signify. It can signify many, many different things. We hear an organ. I'm sure it's not only me that is reminded of Dracula or anything else vampiric. And in this organ, we do hear an interesting descending bass line. It's underpinning all this eeriness we get elsewhere, but it still stands out. This is what we hear. You could look at this in a couple of different ways depending on the context. I believe that in this musical context, what we're hearing is something called the Phrygian mode. We can think of this as a slightly different scale to the usual scale. When we finish this phrase, we are in F sharp minor. The first 4 notes of F sharp minor are these. But this organ going down is... So note number 2, this one, is flattened. That is the Phrygian mode. That note number 2, as you've heard in my other videos, is what we call the supertonic. A flattened supertonic can often create this kind of eerie sound. Alright, this part genuinely nearly gave me a heart attack. That is a jarring sound if I ever heard it. Discordant chord, people screeching, yelling, they sound like they're in pain. I felt my heart stop, or it was beating so quickly it had the same effect. From a storytelling perspective, it certainly caught our attention. We've not yet had any singing. It's funny because we're nearly 1 minute in, we've not actually had any of the actual song yet, as in none of the lyrics or anything. What we've heard musically is completely separate to what is to come. So to me, that is the sign of a carefully constructed opening section, even if it doesn't seem it. Alright, so onto the song itself. Firstly, his accent is impeccable, very authentic sounding.
Taste like cigarettes. I hit it every chance I get.
I want to find out why, if he's from Hong Kong. Okay, I just had a little Google. Apparently he speaks fluent English, Cantonese, Mandarin, Shanghainese, Japanese and Korean. Fair play. This bass riff is the only thing that we hear before Jackson starts singing, so it has to be catchy. It's extremely important, and I think it is catchy. Why? Well, there are 2 main reasons. Reason 1, the overall arc of it, or motion of it. What I was trying to indicate with my hands there is that overall it goes up, then down, then up, then down again. It's equally proportioned, but at the same time it is broken up and made to feel irregular. That's because of the rhythms it uses. Number 2, the rhythms it uses are very, very good for having repeated notes. It's mostly equal rhythms, but sometimes not. We start with an equal repeated note. And then, just before we go down and then back up, so when the second half starts, that's a repeated note, but now not equal rhythms. Repeated notes are a very, very powerful tool in making something catchy. The same note is more easy to remember than constantly changing notes. This riff uses both. And then when Jackson enters with his singing, again, repeated notes. We hear 2 different notes, both of which are repeated.
It tastes like cigarettes.
That jump as well. That's 5 notes down, what we call a fifth. These 2 notes, 5 apart, are present in both the major and minor variants of a chord. So it's a strong sounding interval, albeit slightly archaic. In the guitar world, this is known as a power chord. We then start to get a tiny bit of variety creeping in slowly, and this interestingly comes in the form of an additional bass part. It becomes gradually more complex by providing more notes each time.
Girl, you got me dripping sweat.
We heard it the first time there, mimicking the existing riff, but then it starts to do a bit more.
You pull me back every time I quit.
On this bit where he says "you pull me back," that's the first time we hear some slight change to the melody.
Pull me back every time I quit.
And in turn the harmony. And then just after that the verse kind of resets. Even things like percussion, previously we had a bass drum being the main driving force. Now we have a hi-hat too.
Cigarettes.
It's not a huge change, it's actually very subtle, but it's enough to add a bit more oomph in an otherwise fairly reserved bit of music. After this verse, we then get a, let's call it a new section, musically speaking, where things have become a bit more reduced in general. The bass riff we were speaking about earlier has now become much more simple. It's only playing 3 notes. And these are the same 3 notes that Jackson is singing. To me, this always sounds a little bit unnatural. It's called parallel movement, where multiple parts are just singing the same thing in octaves. Rhythmically, we hear 2 main parts other than the vocals. They're offsetting each other, the bass and the guitar. Again, the idea of repeated notes is omnipresent. The guitar is repeating the same notes over and over. Everything we hear is using repeated notes in some form. The bass line as well, repeating one note, then changing, repeating that. And the bass line and Jackson's melody, which are the same thing in octaves, repeated notes. Weirdly, it's reminding me a bit of House of Memories by Panic at the Disco. It's a similar style in both music and reduction. Yeah, I mean, again, cool choreography, definitely a visually captivating video. And that leads into this part, where I like the contrasts. The bit I'm about to play, things are seeming a bit sluggish. They're slowing down, literally, in terms of the music. But we also get everyone's sudden movements turning and the camera suddenly zooming out. Or at least that's the effect we get. It's just not what I was expecting considering the music at that point. So here as well, we just hear the word blow. Everyone is blowing out this smoke. And then we get silence. And then we get these screams and this stamping. I mean, just how could anyone be expecting that? I certainly appreciate the impact it has and the thought that's gone into creating something different, because it's definitely keeping me engaged. But that then leads into this kind of more-ish section, which I was expecting, mainly probably because of the chorus of woes going on in the background. And just at the end of this section, the guitar and bass catch my ear here. They're again playing in octaves. But their part really stands out. It's this 7th jump. A striking interval. Alright, well that's where we got to. It looked like it was about to repeat again, so let's go from there. I mean, yeah, that's a cool video, isn't it? Very, very cool. I liked the choreography a lot. And a catchy song too. You know, you want songs to be popular, you want them to be catchy, you want them to be memorable. So we had a lot of similarities in that second half compared to the first half, but also some new things. So let's go over and talk about them a little bit. We get the verse again from where we carried on. Pretty much a repeat musically. We have different lyrics. There is an interesting addition though, which sets it apart noticeably from the previous verse.
I got a problem, think I'm in.
if you can hear that kind of mid-range, it's the bass line being played again in an instrument that I can't identify just from hearing it there, but a higher register than the bass. Why it's important is because it's a constantly sounding instrument, not like the bass, which is disjointed, repeating notes. What we hear in this is legato, smooth. This means that when there would be temporary silences in between the singing or between the different notes being played, there's now no silence because we've got this thing going on in the background. It's also a slightly rhythmically different version of that bass line, ever so slightly, and it has the occasional different note as well. Again, it's so subtle that it's just enough to feel a bit unsettling, but because we're familiar with this bass line, it also has that assurance of familiarity. I think it's a bit emotionally confusing. This part, again, yeah, just a great video, very, very cool to watch. And despite this chorus, if we can call it that, being a bit simpler musically, it's definitely growing on me with each time I hear it. Sometimes simple is better, and it complements the not so simple choreography. Just after the chorus, we get the word blow and then the slow-mo bit again. I like the play on the word blow. Blow as in cigarette smoke, that's the obvious one considering the context. It's also like combustion, something blowing up, especially with the smoke that we see in the background, like an explosion. And this almost serene, like slow motion bit, you know, like in a film when something is in slow-mo, it grips us, it causes a lot of suspense. The slow-mo is immediately contrasted by the music that follows. Again, it's this chorus of whoa. And visually suddenly energized, everyone headbanging. There's a lot going on. Musically speaking, the next obvious change, the big difference, is when he uses his falsetto. To emphasize this, the music is not only reduced, but it's almost like there's a muted effect being applied across the board. And that leads into the final verse that I was asking about in the introduction, the twinkle twinkle section. Well, he sings just one note pretty much for the whole thing, except for the last line. But, you know, 3 of those lines just being one note. Twinkle, twinkle, where's the star? Passed out in the back of my car. That's the definition of repeated notes, staying on the same note for an extended period of time, and that's made more impactful by the music harmonically changing underneath. To be honest, it does make sense to use this repeated note trope that we've heard throughout the whole song in the final verse. It's funny because the melody of Twinkle Twinkle Little Star is just a series of repeated notes in couplets. So I guess one similarity between this and the original melody of Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, other than the lyrics of the version that most people know today, is these repeated notes. Overall, I think that was pretty good. It was very catchy. It definitely had unexpected bits, and there were some parts that I preferred much more to other parts. But when you combine everything, the choreography, the set, the music, together, it's a piece of art. I think that overall this song is not designed to showcase Jackson's vocal abilities. There are no crazy ranges. They are simple melodic lines. I don't know Jackson, so I don't know what his voice is like. I don't know what he's known for, but this song is good for other reasons. It's catchy, it's different, especially the video. It has a clever and pertinent subject matter, and the most conflicting thing is in my mind is how I find it sounds both unique and, well, similar to many other songs at the same time. Maybe it's just the style of music, but there's definitely enough unexpectedness, enough elements of surprise in there for me to call it a unique song. Thanks again for this request, and thank you to everyone for watching. Would very much appreciate a like and subscribe. If you enjoy my content, want to support me, join the community and vote on future polls, you can do so by joining the Patreon and YouTube memberships linked below, and I will see you next time.